Ben with design3 here. I'm talking to Kyle and Andrew about their game Trade Secret. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
I'm doing pretty well.
All right. So how'd you guys first get started playing video games? What are some of your favorite video games of all time?
I grew up playing Duck Hunt with my dad when I was really little, and I loved it and played ever since. So.
I was actually the opposite side of the spectrum. I played Sonic the Hedgehog and the Sega aspect of it. I played a lot with my other brothers. So.
And so how do you guys first get started in video game development?
Well, I've always known that I wanted to be in development for video games, but I really saw my career path open up when I found my school, University of Advanced Technology, and I decided to make it official and choose a degree in game design. And so that was 3 years ago now. So.
I would guess I made the conscious decision at about the age of 14. I knew I had a creative mind. I wanted to make video games, but I just didn't have an outlet for them. So there was definitely a buffer period where I had to figure out where the best place was, and luckily University of Advanced Technology was the fit. So.
Cool. Can you tell us about the current game project you guys are working on now?
Sure. It's called Trade Secret, and we call it a 2.5D action platform RPG. And it's a big name, but it's basically a platform with RPG elements, and it's set in an underground, apocalyptic universe. It's our own IP, so.
Yeah, basically Trade Secret relies heavily on a gear customization mechanic, where you're actually interchanging parts to basically make them more powerful as you progress through the later levels in the game. And since it is post-apocalyptic, there's a lot of room for improv and basically creative ideas such as the Z-axis transitions and colorful environments that Unity has provided.
How do you guys manage your time and stay on track?
The KB team.
Yeah. Basically, the way we manage our time and kind of like make things more efficient is basically assigning a Scrum methodology, but with our own little twist on it. We use the Assembler toolkit that's available online, and it basically is freeware as well that actually tracks your progress. You could set sprint milestones, you could set goals, and it also allows opportunity for stand-ups and basic production work. We also use collaborative projects such as Google Wave and Dropbox that makes file sharing easy and helps us control our source files and kind of keeps us all up to date on the newest version of the Trade Secret. And basically we meet about 3 times a week and more frequently as time goes on when we're approaching a deadline to ensure that we're always on track. And we have about 5 leads, each within their own respective skills, such as our story lead, our art lead, programming lead, and then our lead level designer, who basically are a great team to work with, and we're lucky to have that.
And so you mentioned that the Trade Secret is a platform but with RPG elements. Can you kind of go into a little bit more depth on that?
Yeah, so basically the game right now, because it's an alpha, could be played completely as a platform if someone wanted to. You could just jump through all the levels and complete some of the goals that way. But it really shines when players want to do min-maxing on their stats. The premise of the game is, again, to find stuff that in the environments and off enemies and create your own armor from it, armor and weapons. And we have an upkeep system that allows you to tweak all of your stats depending on what items you're using. And we'll also have unique armor sets, so it's there for those that want to enjoy the RPG element, but it's not necessary. And we think it adds a lot of value to the game.
I would have to say that, you know what, I'm just really happy that we are able to show off the game and publicize our skills and talents, because we do have a great team, and what we want to do is while working on the actual game, we want to provide an environment that's basically still an industry standard. That way, if students who are graduating and do move on to, bigger and brighter things, that they're not green to the industry. So we do kind of keep an environment that's still, iterative and still, industry-like in the same, style. But at the same time, we understand that, we all have issues like life and classwork and stuff like that, just generic things, but we're definitely sympathetic to the students, and we empathize with the hardships and whatnot that come with game development.
So what advice would you give to people just starting out, or students just starting out in game development?
The biggest thing is scope. We pulled off a pretty big scope project, and we were lucky to do that. We're still scaling it down to complete it. The number one thing is to make a small game, and when you make your idea, if you think it's good, go even further and reduce the size of it just so that you can finish something. The biggest thing is students, especially at our school, we noticed is they just don't finish anything. They have great ideas, and they get halfway through and then it peters out. So the second thing Kyle was saying is we have a fantastic team, and we try really hard to make sure that the people who are on our team are pulling their own weight and deserve to be there. So I mean, we've had to get rid of a couple people, and it's natural, but it's it's what's kept our team together, and we're pretty proud of it.
I would have to say exactly the scope of the project is definitely imperative when it comes down to actually creating your game design, because you don't want to be too ambitious with your project and never finish it. Another thing I would like to add would probably be, be friends with the people you're going to work with, because you're definitely going to have those times where there's going to be rough patches, and you're going to have to learn, to be professional and learn how to work it out. And and sometimes you just have to, put the game before yourself. And you just have to make the compromises in order for the game to succeed. So I think that's been one of our biggest things, is that we've been able to solve the issues and kind of nip them in the bud, so to speak. So we actually have a really good, strong product to be pitching when we are going through the design process.
So this brings me to my last question, which we've been asking everybody. If you had to describe video game design and development in just one word, what would that one word be? You can take a second if you need it.
Either work or fun. I'm not sure which one. Can we make up a word?
Yeah, go
work fun.
Yeah,
I think that's what we'll say.
You know what? I would have to say work and idea. So it would be idea work, because you can't really have an idea and not expect to do any work with it. So, definitely have that idea, but at the same time, don't be the idea guy. Go through the entire process. Perseverance, so to speak. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and we look forward to playing Trade Secret.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.